You are listening to Esoteric Discussions with Valentine St. Aubin on Peterborough FM, www.peterborough.fm.
Hello and welcome to Esoteric Discussions with me, your host, Valentine St. Aubin, a show where we go deep down into the rabbit hole. You can catch me every other Wednesday evening from 9 here on Peterborough FM and online. If you want to learn more about me, please visit my website at valentinesaintaubin.co.uk. So it's the 8th of February 2012 and Esoteric Discussions is back. Did you miss me? Did you even know I was gone? I had to take a sabbatical because I have so much going on this year and I needed to take some time during January to get organized. So, but I am now back and I'm here for another year on Peterborough FM and I'll be hosting a whole nother run of weird and out there shows where we cover the hidden and unspoken elements of what we call reality. But tonight I've got a very busy show for you, so I don't want to waste too much time talking. In the next few minutes, I will be talking to Kay Hall, who is one of the organisers of Peterborough Artists Open Studios. She's going to be talking about what is also known as PAOS is, and if you're an artist in the Peterborough area, she's going to tell you how you can take part in opening up your artistic studio to the public later on this year. And then after Kate, I'm going to be talking to Bill Maloney of Pie and Mash Films, who is an absolute firecracker and a very, very interesting man, and I'm very proud to have him on my show tonight. We're going to be talking about his work as a filmmaker, current events, and his bid for London Mayor. He's going to be running for London Mayor, so I'm really interested to hear how that's going for him and what the response has been like as well. I'm sure it's been quite positive because he's quite a fiery and very likable character. So so we wish him all the best. So it's going to be a full and packed hot show. It's a full moon, so you know, we need some nice energy and vibes to kick off a new season. I guess we can call it that, season of Esoteric Discussions. But before I bring on my first guest, I just have to say this because it just happened, and well, this is what we talk about on Esoteric Discussions anyway. But did you see Madonna's performance at the Super Bowl? If you haven't seen it, you can easily Google it and find it on YouTube. All you have to do is press in Madonna and Super Bowl, and all of the all of the clips come up. Well, you know, she's certainly been at it again, displaying high-level occult imagery in front of our eyes. We see a lot of it in her stage shows when she's been doing her tours in recent years. And of course, we can't forget the initiation ceremony of Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera a few years back now, which took place on a black and white Masonic floor with both Madonna and Missy Elliott dressed up as masters of ceremony. Of course, Britney flipped out soon after her initiation, which of course was in all the papers and magazines, and she's never been the same since. However, Madonna went on to change her name to Esther, and Christina Aguilera went on to change her name to, was it Christina X or something like that? It didn't seem to affect Christina in the same way as it did Britney. And that's what we find with a lot of these stars when they get initiated into these cults, these cults of Hollywood, as I like to call them. It depends on your personality, and it depends on, you know, what you can take and how far and deep you can go into it. And it's not for everybody, and it certainly wasn't for Britney. You know, well, you needed to know what you were looking at with Madonna's performance at the Super Bowl to actually get it, because the average person would have not had any idea what they were looking at, because obviously the average person is uninitiated, unilluminated. These are the terms that the elite use for us. They call us the sheeple. And you know, these types of terms just go over people's heads and the imagery that comes with it. And of course, those in power love keeping the public in dark. And, you know, it's basically the dirty little secret. So there was certainly a lot going on in Madonna's performance. And from my perspective, she was definitely invocating the Egyptian goddess Isis. Isis is a well-known goddess, one of the more famous goddesses. She basically outshines even Hathor, which is another very old goddess of Egypt. Isis, of course, is the original Madonna. She is the original Madonna with the child. The child was Horus. And basically, the image of Isis and Horus was then taken from Egypt and pushed into what we now know as Christianity and you know, religions of our time with that image. So it comes back to Egypt, as do many things when we're looking at information of this level. Isis, she's known as a mother goddess. She is the goddess of life, as they say, the giver of life. But she's also the goddess of magic, and she has a duality. She has a dark and a light side. And I think when we were looking at that performance as Madonna was coming out for the introduction, we were certainly seeing the dark side of Isis, the Isis who is the goddess of magic. And you know, well, there was a lot going on with the imagery, just in the very, very beginning. Basically, Madonna was sitting on a throne within an altar, and the chair that she was actually sitting on, if you looked at the sides, they were turned upwards very sharply to imitate horns. So we call those the Baphomet horns, demon horns. If you were looking properly, you would have seen two staffs. It's very much like a Masonic altar, two columns, but two staffs. And on the right-hand side, there was an eye, and that's the eye of Horus. It's also known as the all-seeing eye. It's also known as the eye of Lucifer, and that's the eye that's on the back of the United States dollar bill. So, you know, why was Madonna doing this? Well, we could talk about it for the next hour of the why. But you know, she has been putting this kind of imagery into her stage shows for quite some time now. They're in her videos as well. If you look very closely, you can see all sorts of occult imagery. But basically, in my opinion, I think, again, it was another initiation rite, and she was showing the public her status very, very quickly. If you remember the movie Cleopatra, the one with Elizabeth Taylor that came out many, many years ago, I think it was like 5 hours long or something like that. Well, it probably wasn't 5 hours long, but it did feel that way, and a whole bunch of money was spent on it. There was a scene in that movie where Elizabeth Taylor comes out. She's Cleopatra. Elizabeth Taylor played Cleopatra, and she was in all the garb, and she was Isis. And again, in that movie, they dressed her up and had her invoke into Isis to show Cleopatra's power. And that's exactly, I think, what Madonna was after, showing her power, her status. She's obviously well connected in the upper echelons. She's made a name of herself. It seems like all of the new pop princesses that come up have to go through her. So, you know, she's a very powerful character, and she's letting us know that she's a high priestess. We all know that she's into Kabbalah, and she's openly asserting herself. So there's a lot more that was going on in that performance. Of course, the dancing was fantastic. She always brings out the best dancers, so we can't fault anything in that regard. But once again, we're having that kind of information paraded in front of our eyes, and this is what they've been doing. Those in the elite, they've been doing it and being more and more obvious with it in recent years, and I think it's going to intensify, especially with the time that we're in right now. So, you know, you really need to know what you're looking at. And if you don't like it, turn the television off. You don't have to see it. Just because they're into that type of stuff doesn't mean you have to be. I've spent a lot of years researching this kind of information. It's not for everybody. I've spent my time researching it because I'm just nosy. and I like to expose things that are hidden and unknown. Yeah, very, very interesting. And I caught a headline in the Daily Mail yesterday, and they picked up on the goddess thing, but they didn't take it any further because they don't know how to deconstruct what they were seeing. But it was very obvious, and well, these are the times that we're in. So anyway, moving along. So as I said, I've got a busy show tonight. We're going to take a break, and when I come back, I'm going to be joined by Kay Hall, and we're going to have a quick chat about Peterborough Artists Open Studios, and after Kay, I'm going to be joined by Bill Maloney. So stay tuned. Okay, you're back with me. I am your host, Valentine St. Aubin. And we're live here on Peterborough FM, and I'm now going to be joined by Kay Hall. I'm just going to open up her mic and make sure she's with us, because we know how the technology can be here. Kay, you there?
I'm here, yes, hello.
Hello, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Let's talk about PAOS, Peterborough Artists Open Studios.
Yeah.
How did it begin? Where does this all come from?
Well, it started in Peterborough in 2000 by Sue Shields and Catherine Moore. Sue Shields, she's an artist in Peterborough, had moved from Brighton, and Brighton has been a sort of a hub of open studios for quite a long time, and she was very much involved in it there and thought she'd like to start it here, bring it to Peterborough if you like, and she and Catherine opened their houses in 2000, and that was the first one in Peterborough.
Right. So is the Open Artist Studios, is it a national organisation, let's say? Are there other...
It's, I suppose it's national. There is a sort of directory locally, and there are a lot of different... Some do county-wide, some are city-wide. And there's quite a lot that goes on, and there is a directory online of open house studios that you can actually look at to find out the opening times of their events. Mm-hmm. But they're all basically based on artists opening their houses and showing their work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm obviously a member as well of the Open Studios, and I took part last year, and I was quite surprised because we did have a good response. I opened up my home and had a lot of the public come through, and they were all following with their little booklets, and looking where to go next. And I thought it was well organised, and I think it's so important to have something like this for local artists. So let's talk about how it was last year. Was it?
It was brilliant last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It has grown steadily, but I think last year was the biggest that we've had. We had 34 venues with over 50 artists displaying work. Mm-hmm. Some artists join up and show their work with others, and some are in bigger groups.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Cavell Centre at the Cavell Hospital, where a lot of people put their work in. So there's a variety of venues to go to and a variety of work to see.
Right. So if I'm an artist sitting at home listening tonight, and I'm thinking, could I be part of that? Yeah. How would one go about joining, and so that they can take part in opening up their studio for this next? It's going to be in the early spring, summertime.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
9th to 10th of June, 16th, 17th. And 23rd and 24th of June.
Okay, so how could one take part then? What do they need to do?
Well, we have a website which is www.paos.org.uk, and that gives a lot of explanation about what we do. You can download an application form from the website, and you can also see pictures from the artists who took part last year, because each artist will have a dedicated web page,
mm-hmm.
and they can then change some of the pictures that they put up on it.
So it's a presence that they have year-long.
We have a year-on
mm-hmm.
presence,
okay.
and we also produce a directory, which obviously you found, and people came round to your house,
mm-hmm.
which lists all the venues. And there's a little description of what the artist does, with a little picture of their work. There's a map, and the map is also connected to a Google map, so you can follow the artists around. It's all artists living in the PE area. And by artists, I mean artists and craftspeople.
Yes, yeah.
Many disciplines.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so all the information is on the website. So if someone is listening and they're interested, all they need to do is just go have a look.
Yeah.
Membership costs, is it £40?
It's £40, which is very low. I think it's probably one of the lowest in the country, actually.
Yeah. So
and we've been able to keep our fees low this year because somebody has kindly volunteered to produce our directory.
Oh, that's good. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So there you go. I mean, it's a nice organisation to take part in.
Good.
Not only do we do the open studios, there's also the social side. We get to mingle with one another, and
yes.
I'm always so busy, I don't really get to go to the pub and hang out. But there is that opportunity if one chooses,
yes.
and I think it's a nice network for local artists and people out there doing things. So I want to thank you, Kay, for joining me this evening.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm looking forward to opening up again this year. I think I'm going to do it at a public place, though, and not in my own home.
Right.
But I'm hoping that we're going to have great numbers like we did last year. And I'd like to thank you and those of your committee as well for all the hard work that you guys do for us. And that's it. So I'm going to close your mic.
Okay, thank you.
And thanks for joining us. And the website again is
www.paos.org.uk, and entries in by the 15th of February, please.
Okay, so deadline 15th of Feb.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Kay.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to close your mic now.
Okay, bye.
Right, so there you go. So if you're living in the Peterborough area and if you'd like to take part, you've got the website, give it a go. I mean, it's always the first step, trying to get your work out and to be seen, and it can actually really help you. It can help give you confidence, and you get to meet people in the public, you get feedback, and to be honest, it's a very positive experience, and we need more things like this. We need the community to take part and take action as to what they want to see happening around them. We can't sit back and wait for the politicians to do it for us, because they're not going to. We have to be the ones to do it. So I'm going to take another quick break, and I'm going to get Bill Maloney on the line. So hold on. The next track that I have for you, I saw this band back in 1993 at Lollapalooza when I was still living in America. And they, well, back then, no one knew who they were. And if I remember rightly, Lollapalooza 1993, the headlining act was Primus. They're the ones that went on and did the theme music for South Park. There was Alice in Chains. There was quite a few other bands, but this band, Rage Against the Machine, they were pretty much not known. And I remember when they first came out, it was in the middle of the day, and we were all sort of wondering who these guys are. And as soon as they started to play, I tell you, there was a very electric feeling going on around us, and we realized we were witnessing something quite special. And the song that I'm going to play for you is called Wake Up. Many years later, when the Matrix movie started, the first Matrix movie, they used this track as the theme music for that movie, Wake Up. So while I'm getting Bill on the line, I'm going to play the track for you, so I will be back shortly.
Now, here they are, Rage Against the Machine.
Right, so we're live here with me, Valentine St. Albin. You are listening to Esoteric Discussions here on Peterborough FM, and on the line with me I have Bill Maloney, who is the creative, the inspiration of Pie and Mash Films, and I'm just going to open up his mic, make sure he is there. Bill, you with me?
Hello.
Hello, welcome to the show, Bill.
Hello, Valentine.
Hi, thank you for joining me. I know you're a very busy man. I want to hear all about it.
I'm not just busy. I've got a virus or whatever they call it nowadays. We used to call it the flu. Or
oh, I see. So you've not been 100% then.
No. But
okay.
So much in the fact that I was supposed to go to meet the head of the childcare at Lambeth Social Services. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't make that meeting. And if I could just give you a taste of what this meeting was about, I just want to read something quickly.
Go for it.
For you. This is to Debbie Jones, Head of Children and Young People Services, from the Member of Parliament, Kate Hoey. She's the Member of Parliament for Vauxhall, which is in the Borough of Lambeth, and she's been the Member of Parliament there for the last 22 years. This is what she wrote to Debbie.
Okay.
Dear Debbie, this family is being treated disgracefully by Lambeth Social Services. I am now heavily involved with the case and would strongly urge you to take a personal interest in it. I am not going to have them treated in the disrespectful way they have been up to now. The whole case is shocking, and I will be seeking an adjournment debate in the future to highlight my concerns and that of the family. Thanks, Kate. Now, that is about a couple called Cornell Brown and Nicola Thatcher. And for your listeners, if they go on to our mayor site, maloneyformayor.com, they can see all our films, and The Tragedies of Brown and Thatcher is a must. It's a first-part documentary that's coming in 3 parts, and if you like, we're withholding parts, and we still need to do some work on them, because that is the way we have to operate against Lambeth Social Services, and even to the fact that we have had to do covert recordings at their conferences, etc.
Right.
So that is a big case that is coming up. So, I had to miss that. Unfortunately, this morning with the head of the childcare, his name is Andrew Carter.
Right.
Cartwright, sorry. Oh yeah, it's Andrew Carter. So there's a flavour.
Yeah. Well, let's give a bit of a background to what you do, because you've got quite a backlog of work. As you said, if you go onto your website, you can see a lot of your documentaries and films that you have done over the last few years. A lot of it is for free, and it's available to view, and it's very, very interesting viewing. And I would urge the public, please do have a look, because you're doing what You're doing something that's very brave, and to be honest, you have to put yourself forward in a very difficult situation when you get onto the streets and you put the microphone into people's faces and you get their opinions. Because I've watched a couple of your films and I've noticed a pattern. You get the police sometimes, checking you out and seeing what you're up to and asking you questions, and you really start to see how we're not actually living in this free and democratic society that they love to, loud in front of our faces. But
democracy is not freedom.
Exactly. Yeah, democracy, that's right.
Freedom's got nothing to do with freedom.
That's right.
You have to have a certain control, I suppose, over large populations of people. You do need law or an order. You do need education, etc. And business techniques and ways for people to earn money to make it the matrix go round, if you like.
Yeah.
But we also need empathy and compassion for the undertrodden and the people that are screaming for a voice who have no voice. And that is what seems to be missing from our society. And it's terrible, and we've got 1.2 million youngsters unemployed in this country, and that is just asking for trouble. And those children who are unemployed, the teenagers, but they're still children, and if we all go back in our minds, us adults, we can remember what it was like then, and the energy, and the aspirations of life, and how wonderful it is, and they have nothing. So where's this energy going to go? What are we going to do? They're going to go on the streets, and now the police are allowed to use live ammunition and rubber bullets against our children. Because I believe we're all children until at least we get to around about 25.
Well, I believe that too, yeah, definitely. And we should stay young at heart as well. I think it's important. You're always growing and learning. To have a certain innocence about yourself is very important. But also, you grow up and you become wiser too. But yes,
and spirituality as well, Valentine.
You have to have that side of yourself. Yes.
Yeah. Well, when I talk about spirituality, I'm not talking about religion.
Yes, no, me either.
I'm talking about the third eye, the sixth sense,
yes,
the pineal
innocence
gland. That's a good one for people to look up. The pineal gland.
Yes, the pineal, absolutely.
That is a small gland in our brain, and that is our sixth sense.
It affects the visual, how we interpret everything around us. The pineal gland. It's very important.
The strange thing, Valentine, is it's constructed similar to an eye.
It is, yes.
And fluoride in our water.
Messing around with it.
I don't know whether you drag me off track or I drag you off track. I'm a filmmaker.
Well, but you're an interesting personality, and you can talk on many, many levels, and I could
talk their legs off the table.
And me too. So we're in good company. But I just wanted to give a little background to people who maybe aren't familiar with your work in that sense. So, Bill, he's a filmmaker. He's you've won an award. Yes, a couple of awards.
I've won many awards.
He's won many awards, and he makes.
But when I say that, I'm not sticking my chest out.
No. But his work is out there.
No, because it's Pie Mesh Films. It's all the good people that work at Pie Mesh Films.
Yeah. He's got.
I wouldn't be where I am now, wherever that may be.
Yeah.
Without those people.
That's right.
And with a lot of people that don't necessarily work directly for Pie Mesh Films, but indirectly, all the good people out there that are doing work on the internet and radio like yourselves, and any TV shows. TV is very difficult. Radio's a lot easier to get on than TV because you've got
especially with the message that you have and what have you. Yes, of course, it's going to be they're going to try to push it out of the psyche of people. So yes.
Shall I just give a short synopsis of where I come from there?
Please, yes. Let's talk about your early years, because you've got a very interesting story, and I'd like you to also include the bit about how you had something. Was it an ulcer that went off in your stomach quite a few years ago, and you had a big wake up call as well?
I did have a big wake-up call, yes.
Yeah. So go ahead. Tell us about your past and how you started.
You bring me back on the ulcer wake-up call, but I'll just give the short synopsis, okay?
Okay.
All right, if I forget it. My parents were Irish immigrants, and they came over in the 50s. My father was a Dublin man, and my mum was from County Wexford. and they came over here with 3 of their children, and then the rest of us were born over here. I was born in Lambeth Hospital, and all their children. My mother was in trouble with drugs and alcohol, and this was a long time ago, you know. I mean, I'm 56, so I was really the first time I was put into care. I was in hospital for quite a while with whooping cough, actually, as a baby, and then I was put into the care of Lambeth Council, and they put me into an orphanage, a Catholic orphanage run by nuns in Mill Hill, and then that was the trend for my whole family, myself and my 7 siblings. We were brought up in the care system, the institutions of this country, and every single one of us were either sexually, violently, physically, or psychologically abused in the care systems of this country, not just the Catholic ones, the children's homes, the offenders institutions, the remand centres. They were very brutal, and we still have brutal places like that in this country now. We've got secret units that are CSC units, you know, where there are only 3 in the country, and they only hold about 12 prisoners each, and that's very scary. So people just put in CSC units into the computer. They can see that. So I had a tough upbringing, you know. I was a good sportsman. I wouldn't conform, and I spent most of the time in some kind of seclusion, if it was in the children's homes, you know, when I was very young, or in cells when I was in young offenders institutions. And then I just I pulled my way out of it, and I became a hod carrier, actually. So I carried bricks on my shoulders for 20 years. I got married when I was 21.
So you worked as a labourer.
Yeah. And I got married when I was 21 to Maria, who is also our producer at Primash Films, and I had a lovely daughter called Regan. Drives me mad. Talks more than I do, actually.
Oh, wow.
You know, I put her through the education system and the university, but also gave her my education as well. Because I didn't conform, you see.
No.
And a lot of my siblings, you know, my brothers, my sisters, you know, 2 who are dead. I lost my mother, I lost my father. You know, one of my sisters was one of the abused on the island of Jersey.
Yes, I'd like to get to that point. So
it was very tough. And my dad, he was a miner in the tunnels, you know. He worked on the Victoria Tube line, you know, digging the tunnels and that. And as a lot of the Irish did, they called them navvies, you know. And I think you'll probably have heard of when the Irish were over here, we bonded with black people because...
Oh, yeah, no dogs, no Irish, no black.
That's it, and you used to see that, you know, if there was
on windows and things.
No Irish, you know, it was... So we seemed to bond, you know what I mean? We bonded. And it was many of the times, you know... So some of the happiest times when I was a kid was sitting on the step of a pub in the summer with the doors open with my lemonade and crisps, and on one side I would see the Jamaicans playing dominoes, which was very exciting, and then on the other side I'd have the Irish playing the cards, you know, and their humour together, which are both, I believe, are renowned. It was electrifying. It lit me up, you know, and it was whenever I was at home with my dad, you know, because my mum went off the rails and she went into prostitution to feed her habits. And that was a long time ago, you know. It was like if you was a heroin addict then, they just put you in prison. End of story. You know, you was treated very, very dirty. But anyway, I got through all that. And you know, I worked hard in the building industry, and but I was very frustrated, you know, because of what happened to me as a child.
Stayed with you.
Well, people say to me, you know, you took a lot of beatings, Bill, and you were locked up. You know, from when your mum and your brother used to lock you in the coal cupboard, and you used to get beatings from them, and then in the institutions you was getting it there, and you know. So I don't know, you know, how I came through a lot of it. You know, I'm not trying to bleed people's hearts here because, you know, I'm a pretty tough guy. You know.
No, but it gives a good foundation as to where you take your films, with all the different types of documentaries that you focus on, and how you like, and the heart that you have, and how you like to talk to the average person, the average person who's just living their life. And that's what I like about your films, is that you're giving them a voice. And you've gone through all those things that you've gone through, which has made you sensitive and understanding. And, we all have, I didn't have the greatest life as well. I lost my father when I was very young. I could have been like you. I could have been taken off to care if I didn't have the mother that I had, what have you. My half-brother, when my father died, he had a rough time. So, these things do affect us and can take us down certain kinds of roads. And what I like about your story is that you went through all of that. You're not afraid to speak about it, and it's important that you're sharing it, because this is happening to a lot of people, the abuse and all those types of things. And it's important to get it up and onto the surface so it can be healed, and so we can stamp it out as well, because this is what's going on. As you said, the abuse is going on in our public structures and things, and we're dealing with children and they're getting abused, and there's a cycle of this. This is not a new thing. This has been going on for quite some time, and it's important, the work that you do, by trying to give a voice to that. And as you say, you're a maverick and you're a voice for the common man, and I think that's very important.
Common man, women and children.
Yeah.
Valentine,
yes.
You don't want to be my counsellor, do you?
Well, no, but I understand. I understand. I feel, I'm quite sensitive. I feel, I can feel what you've gone through. I've not lived it, but I can feel it. I can understand it.
Yeah, but I think I met you at Edge Media.
Yeah.
Edge Media show,
Yeah.
And I look at you, and I think you've had a few tough times as well, So,
yeah. I've not had the easiest of life, but we make the most.
That's how you
make the most of it.
That's how you empathise and lock into people. That's why I when you say I talk to the common people, it's because I understand their pain.
Yes, right.
And they have far more pain, and this sort of this big wall that we have between the lower and the middle classes and the upper middle classes and the upper classes,
mm-hmm.
we have to bring that wall down.
Yeah.
And that is it. That's why I started making films. Should we go back to the synopsis of the films?
Please,
I started making films, didn't I? Well, I'll tell you what happened. I always wrote, because when I was in solitary confinement as a child, like I say, whether that was a room, a cell, or whatever, I would always write stories. And when bad things were happening, like if I was witnessing beatings or taking a beating, whoever or wherever that may be happening, I would put myself into a world of fantasy. And, I can remember when I was about 8 or 9, and I can remember wishing that if I wished strong enough, then Superman would come through that door at a certain time and take me out of there, and I was ready for him.
Yeah.
I was ready for Superman, but he never come.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that there are children out there that need their superheroes to come and help them, because the children of the future, we are the keepers of the planet now, they are the future keepers. We can't let this devilish evil that is just going around and
mm-hmm.
around
and it's
around.
Getting more and more in your face. Yeah.
Well, the famine in Somalia,
mm-hmm.
all they wanted was 4 billion.
Yeah.
4 billion. That is all they wanted. They wound up from this country about 75 million. It's just crazy. We gave the bankers 14 billion.
Yep. Exactly.
So, we've got
mm-hmm.
50,000 children dying from malnutrition and preventable diseases on this planet every single day. Not every week, every single day.
Yeah.
We've also got 3 children dying in this care system. So it's the children for me, because the children are the future. And their spirituality is important, and so are their pineal glands.
Yeah. and these types of things need to be taught, and they need to be taught to children, to adults. it's time that people wake up to these things and stop saying, oh, but it's all a bit weird. And this is reality. We have a pineal gland. It affects the way that we understand everything around us. And when it's awoken, when it wakes up, you wake up. You can see into things. So you can see when you're being lied to. You can see, you know, certain imagery.
They try to subdue the pineal gland. They don't give us an education. They give us an indoctrination.
They do.
It's like, you know, I'm running for London Mayor, not to win the place as London Mayor, though if I do become London Mayor, I would do a good job. I would do a better job than Boris. And
well, he's out of touch, isn't he?
Well, they are all out of touch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of touch with the people on the street. They can't even shake hands properly.
Yeah.
If that makes a sense. You know, I'm sure that a lot of people will understand that, you know. If someone says to them, you're sick, a kid says, no, you're sick, it means you're good. They think the kid's insulting them. You know what I mean? They just don't understand what's going on. And so, you know, we've got to sort the kids out first, because we've got some angry children out there.
Yeah, we do.
And, you know, idle hands do the devil's work. And they've got nothing to do.
Yeah.
So, you know, in our...
and they're seeing the bankers, they're seeing them thieving and stealing and lying and being corrupt, and, you know, this is... So they see them doing that. So
they always have.
Well, they have always done it. It's not that it's a new thing. It's just that people are starting to see it, for whatever reason, for the first time, because it's become so obvious, so in our faces now. You know, this thing of bailing out companies. This is not a new thing. That's been going on. It's just they never reported it. You know, they never spoke about it.
It's like the railways. The taxpayer subsidises the railways to the tune of £4 billion a year.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be privately run. Mm-hmm. But they're not. They're taking taxpayers' money, and then they're putting the taxpayers who are paying for all of it. Then their fares are going up.
And they can't even find a seat.
And you can't find a seat
on the train.
If you're driving your car and you haven't got a seatbelt on, you can get arrested for that. You know what I mean? Well, not arrested, but you'll get
fined. Yeah.
And you'll get fined. You know, statutory fine. But yet on a train, you've got men, women, and children all standing up. When that train goes, we know where they're all going. They're all going one way. They're going to be smashing into each other. Trains are so dangerous, you know what I mean? If there's a crash, you know, at least you've got a chance in a car when you have a crash. It's just simple things like that they don't understand, that drive us all mad. This congestion charge, you know, they're putting the congestion charges up all the time. Every way they can get money out of the people, because their aim is to keep everybody locked into their banking system. You know, the census. So many people didn't fill in the census. People are rebelling.
Well, I mean, as you said, you're running for mayor, London mayor. You know, in the last election, myself, my husband and my mother, we didn't vote. And actually, we were harassed. We kept getting one of those canvassers that kept coming to the front door and basically ordering us to fill out the forms, the census forms, and also to register. And they were saying to us, if you don't do it, you're going to get fined and you're going to be blackmailed, blacklisted.
Or you'll go to prison.
You know, you know, and at the end of the day, we didn't vote. And I know that this is a long conversation and people have very strong views about, well, you know, if you don't vote, then you can't have a voice. But our reasons for not voting is much, much bigger than that. You know, because at the end of the day, there's no alternative. I'm not interested.
We've got to go back to basics.
I'm not going to support any of it.
No, you know, if I can go back on our education system, a simple thing in our manifesto, we want all children taught resuscitation methods, CPR. Every child should come out of school or just get to a certain grade and be able to resuscitate someone who's having a heart attack. If old granny's having a heart attack. And we've got to start teaching them the basic signs of, you know, of certain illnesses. Just give them basic medicine.
Yeah, so they know what to do exactly.
Yeah, and
it's empowering them as well.
We've We've got to start teaching it in our manifesto. In London, we can do so much in London. We want children to learn trades in school.
Yeah, I believe definitely. Yeah.
Why couldn't a kid come out and be able to sort of do some electrics or plastering or all the different trades you've got in the building, all mechanics, civil engineering. All the different engineering, all these different things that children could be taught in our school. Too much academia.
And it doesn't take you anywhere. It doesn't take you anywhere. And at least with the trades, one of the films that I was looking at, I can't remember the title of it, but I think it was when we had the elections back in 2010, and you were on the streets, and a lot of people were getting upset about the immigrants. And if you
street politicians.
Yeah, if you have the trades that you're teaching to the younger generations, it gives them a skill, it gives them skilled labor, and it gives them something to look forward to, so they can get off the benefits or not even go towards the benefits and try to get a job and start to work, rather than just blame it on the immigrants. That has to be tackled as well. We have to empower our children, the people of this country, with skills that they can earn a living from and get paid and keep a roof over their head. All basics. It's all basics. It doesn't have to be falling apart the way that it's falling apart. And people don't have to be so angry about the immigrants here or foreigners there.
No, but I believe that is being fabricated at one point with the so-called riots. I mean, if the middle class students, that's a demonstration. They're throwing missiles off of roofs. They're attacking the police.
Yeah.
But they're not rioters, they're demonstrators.
Yeah.
And then the lower class kids, they take to the streets in their form of demonstration. All of a sudden they're rioters, and we're going to use live ammunition and rubber bullets against them.
Yeah.
And that is what's happening in Syria as we speak. And that is what has been happening all over the Mediterranean. And that is why we went in to get Gaddafi, and now we want to start shooting our children. There's too many angry people out there. The police are too angry as well because they're so fired up,
Yeah.
The kids have started calling police vans the bully vans,
Yeah,
And I've seen footage, and I've been on the street, and I've seen police officers bullying, but they're not all bad police officers. But you do get some. I mean, we've got, for example, let me give you this. We've got soldiers that have come back from Afghanistan, been to Iraq, seen some terrible things, and had to do some terrible things. Because if you had to kill someone, me personally, I'm a pacifist. I couldn't kill anyone. I don't believe anyone has the right to take another human life. But I believe that once you have taken a human life, and possibly more, you become mentally unbalanced in one way. You must do. I don't believe that anyone can take someone's life and not be affected by it. Then they're coming over here, and we're putting them as guards in our prisons, and some of our prisons are brutal still. And also, they're becoming guards in our young offenders institutions. Now, then a lot of these people, they have drug problems, they have alcohol problems, they have very high divorce rates. The police are, they have very high divorce rates, very high drug problems, and very high alcohol problems. And these people are then sent in to look after our children. And if you beat children, then what are they, are the abusers going to become the abused become the abusers later on in life? And we've got this roundabout where we're creating some very angry people. So if to get to mayor, if I did become mayor, I would want to bring the community together, and that would involve bringing the police into the affray as well.
Obviously, yes. It all has to work together as a cohesion.
They have to work with the youth.
Yeah, they do.
They should be walking up to the youth, shaking hands. All right, brother, what's your name? How are you?
Yeah. And the youth need to have things to do as well, and it doesn't help when community centres are being closed down and things like that.
You've got to show them respect, Valentine. If you don't,
absolutely.
You get a kid and you talk to a kid like he's a piece of shit, you're going to get attitude back.
That's right. Yeah.
So what you're saying is, right, in that split second, you have to take this individual's attitude away, otherwise he's going to be arrested. Something that he's probably had all his life. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like we've also got these CSC units. They're called closed supervision centres. Now we've got prisoners in there that are mentally ill. and some of them waiting to go to Broadmoor. They are being beaten. They've committed horrendous crimes, but because someone's mentally ill. Now, if I've been working on a case where this guy, his name's Sonics, Dano Sonics, and he is the guy who was involved in the stabbing of the 2 French students in South East London a few years ago. Mm-hmm. Horrible, horrible crime. But what this man done, what these 2 guys done, is someone stabbed someone to death and chops them up. That means that person has got something wrong in the brain. That means they're ill.
Yeah.
You don't beat people that are ill.
No.
It's crazy, and we've still got these secret units. And also, we'd like to bring in, if we do get to mayor, we want to bring in lie detector tests, because at point of arrest, so if someone's committed a crime, they're taken to the police station, they're given a lie detector test. If they decide to own up, or if they pass the lie detector test, they're allowed to go. Now, that will save millions and millions in lawyers building cases for the criminals, the ones that aren't owning up. The lie detector test will spot it. Now, a lie detector test is 98. The polygraph test is the correct name for it. Is 98% certain.
Sorry, Bill, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
So what I would like you to do, while we just have a few seconds left, is give us your website so people can check out your films, check out what you've got to say in terms of you're putting yourself forward for London Mayor. What's your website? Where can they find information from?
Okay, right. Well, the film website, I'll just say quickly that I am a documentary filmmaker, and I've been doing it for many years now, and that is piemeshfilms.com.
Okay.
So it's meshfilms,
with an N,
all one word, .com. And our mayor site, I believe, has just gone up. Oh, right, so we'll have a round of applause for that. It's only just gone up, the mayor site, and that is www.maloneyformayor.com. And if you go on there, you can see all the work we've done. And as I say, my CV are my documentaries, and you'll see what kind of person I am. And for you people out there, if you want a real change, vote for me.
All right, Bill, I'm going to have you on again, so we'll have to do it probably after the elections and see.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a bumpy ride, but it's going to be an interesting one because I'm documenting everything along the way.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to watch. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sorry we ran out of time. But that's it for tonight, I'm afraid. We've run out of time. I'll be back again with another show sometime, not next week, but the week after that. So until next time, keep your eyes on the stars.
Pay close attention. Pay close attention. Pay close attention. I'll take your brain to another dimension.
You're listening to www.peterborough.co.uk.